People who've had sex with celebrities, how was it? My dad dated Sarah Wayne Callies, Laurie Grimes from The Walking Dead, in high school. He defines her as a very nice girl. Truth be told, I don't think he remembers much of that relationship. But she came to our house party once, when I was a kid, and she was always really nice to me and my sister Reddit. I think it's worth mentioning the irony here. She was only around when I was a kid. Once or twice, when my parents would throw house parties. Being 8 or 9. I just thought of her as another adult there, and didn't really care. But when I was 13 to 16, and became a huge Walking Dead fan, and never saw her around after that, I was so disappointed. There were points me and my mom would be watching the show and my dad would walk in and be like, "You know Op, I dated the actress who played Laurie." "Yes dad, I know. If only there was some way to meet her." Based on Prison Break and interviews, she has always been near the top for me. I know a girl that hooks up with Hannibal Buress every time he comes to Milwaukee. Edit. They met on Bumble, and she said has very sweet guy. Back in the zeros, a mate of mine used to duck Shaggy every time he would come to Melbourne. I think he probably made 2 to 3 trips down here. We'd all make a big deal about her disappearing for a few days to shag Shaggy. She had nothing but nice things to say about him. She knew she was nothing but a bit of side poon when he was in town. I'm picturing that they were both buck naked banging on the bathroom floor. Wasn't him. Knew someone who slept with Leonardo DiCaprio. Apparently he kept his headphones on the entire time. Doggy style. This rumor is everywhere. I want to know what Hez listening to. Hez learning his scripts. Did it happen in a pool? I knew a girl who was an escort. She had sex with Derek Jeter. Afterwards he called a limo to take her home. In the limo was a gift. It was a baseball signed by Derek Jeter. He did this with all of them. There are plenty of dames in New York with Yankees gift baskets courtesy of this legend. Damn. Man straight up ducked all of New York. Jenna Jameson kissed me on the mouth at a strip club in Ohio. That's all I got. That's all I got. Count yourself lucky. My grandmother dated Jimmy Carter. Not sure how physical things got, but I've read a few of the letters he wrote. I only post this because I can't think of any other reason I would get to bring this up. He sinned in his heart. My ex slept with Till from Ramstein after a gig once many years ago when she was a gothlet. She said he was very respectful, mildly kinky, wanted to have sex on the hotel balcony with her bent over the rail over the city so people could see, and apparently had skin as soft as a baby. Apparently he was nice. Bought her breakfast the next day, invited her back for a second sesh the next day, then moved on in his tour. She said 8/10 would star duck again. Ex-duck Twiggy Ramirez of Marilyn Manson around 2000 or so after a show. Apparently it was alright. His dick was huge, but it was over quick, and then he kicked her to the curb right after to do coke or something. And yes, she was underage. Post Malone asked my ex-girlfriend if she would be interested in going home with him under the condition that she would have to eat his ass. If there is one person's ass I would not want to eat, he would probably be it. Plus, his beehole probably has some stupid tattoo on it, like "so hungry" or some shit. I hooked up with Randy Newman's son. He said I had a nice vagina. I guess that's a win. I guess you could say that. He had a friend in you. I think it's time for me to move on from this thread. I ducked a chick who was in a Target catalog. It was hot. I did not sleep with, but did a little more than made out with Drew Barrymore October 7th. It was rad. She was always my biggest crush growing up. Congratulations. Now we must duel. My friend ducked the dude from the WoW Vine with the girl vaping. Knew a girl who ducked Zac Efron. Had to sign an NDA. Told me he wasn't all that great in bed, i.e. the fantasy was better than the reality. Still fanboyed over him hard apparently. So much about that NDA. No dick agreement. A girl I went to high school with dated Jason Acker, Acker Wee Man, shortly before Jackass 3 came out. He visited her family in Wee around Thanksgiving time. But he hated Wee so much that he paid her best friend to drive him to the airport in the middle of the night. I guess when he visited he was Wee man. My nana was in a serious relationship with Nash of Crosby, Stills and Nash. Is she Joni Mitchell? You know, now that you mention it. My mom had sex with David Lee Roth. She said he smelled like sour milk and put his dirty hat on her head. Put his dirty hat on her head sounds like a euphemism. A woman I worked with had a one-night stand with Captain Obvious from Hotels.com, whom she met at a New York jazz club. She pretended that she didn't recognize him in order to prevent being seen as a gold digger. She was hoping to get into a short-term relationship with him, and hopefully he would give her some money and buy her a Lexus, which she really wanted. Later she found out that he wasn't Captain Obvious, just looked very much like him. Gold digger trying to act like they aren't a gold digger. That's a new one. On a trip to Vegas, one of my friends f***ed Michael Jordan. She said it was painful and fairly fast. She won't ever stop talking about it. If I just saw Michael Jordan in person, it probably would never stop talking about it. I met him when I was 14. I'm 32 now. Still haven't stopped talking about it. I used a gender-neutral bathroom with James Franco. We made eye contact and smiled at each other when we were washing our hands. Please tell me he smiled like he smiled to the waitress in Spider-Man 3. How's the pee? My wife's grandmother dated Ted Bundy. Said he was a wonderful and charming guy. I mean, by all accounts he was. That's what made him so famous. He personified the next door neighbor. Could be a crazy person idea because he was just so. Not a typical serial killer in the way most people think. A friend of mine had sex with Paul Wesley. She said it was pretty good. He also took her on a short jet away trip. Seemed like a very nice guy. Ended up getting her a gift candle that was the scent of his cologne, so she can remember him. Damn, that scented candle is smooth. There is only one X that I associate with a cologne, and I wouldn't say no to that scented candle. Close to 20 years ago, my roommate hooked up with a suicide girl who came to our apartment to stay for a few days. She kept name dropping all these celebrities she knew like Slash and Trent Reznor to the point we were like, why you lying? Then she pulled out all the pictures of her with various famous musicians. Apparently she was the secretary to someone famous for producing music, and that was how she met all these dudes. Well, she was in a relationship with Maynard from Till at the time, and she left him to come live with us for a while because apparently sex with Maynard was just really ducking bad. She later left my roommate for one of the drummers for Slipknot because he bought her a house in Texas. My roommate worked for a grocery store and just couldn't compete with the money. She did assure him that the celebrity sex was still bad. It was purely for the house. A friend told me Victoria Justice gave lap dances to some of his friends at a party the year she signed on for Victorious. Was it done get in the van Skneder? Dan Skneder bring all my bitches back. Slept with the lady that used to do the morning news in my city. This was at least 15 years ago. She is a blanket stealer and puts her cold feet right between your legs when she wants them warmed up. Now everyone knows Cassie. This is the cutest one by far. This is the only one so far. I have a friend that slept with one of the guys from Metro Station about 5 years after we thought they were cool for a year. Apparently he wanted zero foreplay. Finished within a minute or two. Then basically threw her out. Edit. Just wanted to add, since responses keep asking. It wasn't the Cyrus. I don't remember who it was, but I'd remember if it was him. Edit 2. It was Mason Musso. I contacted her about it after this blew up, and she got back to me. Did she shake it? And how many times did she shake it? If she did, I heard the recommended amount of times was. Wait. Shake, 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 shake it. Yep. 5 times. A friend of a friend slept with Shawn Mendes. Apparently it wasn't something to write home about. Edit. For everyone asking. The friend was a she. I know a lot of people have questioned his sexuality, but it's something Hez came out and said makes him feel very uncomfortable. So you're saying he didn't leave anyone in stitches? Maybe there is something holding him back. A buddy of mine dated a celebrity of American Pie fame, a certain foreign exchange character. He has my eternal jealousy, but was a gentleman on the details. I did get to meet her and play poker at her house though, so there's that. It wasn't 6, but I did beat her at a couple of hands, so that was cool. Then she cheated on him with a dance show partner. Disappointing all round I think. Edit, my buddy is a redditor. One of the few that I know are viral, so I'm curious to see if I hear about this. A co-worker's sister slept with Chris Evans before he was famous. Same town. She worked it into every conversation she could. 'Cause why wouldn't you? Edit, America's ass. My mother went to the same high school as him, even though not even close to the same time period. You can't bring him up, or even anything Marvel related without her bringing that up. Had her my fams from Sudbury and I did some community theater at LS after they renovated. Represent lol. Girl I know slept with G-Eazy in 2015, before he was really big. He gave her chlamydia. Mayo. I feel like chlamydia is his middle name. Well, if this thread has taught me something, it's that celebrities are riddled with STDs. Anyone who is going to duck Randus left and right is heavily statistically likely to be a collection of STDs. Friend girl of mine bang screwed an NBA player. The only detail I remember was that he was adamant about taking the condom with him when he left. Update, thank you for the award. No child left behind. Ahana means family. Family means no one gets left behind. Slept with Western Kentucky's mascot after a drunken day at Churchill Downs. She refused to keep the head on. Still 10/10ths experience. Yes, the big red blob thing. Not me, but a girl I knew slept with some F-list reality TV douchebag. He quoted himself off the show as a chat-up line, and then again after he came. She described the experience as embarrassing, but not sure for who. A friend of mine ducked the Delgado dude, your Jet and Adele fame, when we were in college. If you know who the Del guy is, congratulations on being old like me and my friend. I saw Danny DeVito cursing out a cyclist who nearly wiped him out. Getting out of a private cab once in San Fran was almost as good as sex. I'm starting to figure out people who bang celebrities aren't on Reddit. I hooked up with the drummer of Slipknot when they were in town. Twice. I was working at a strip club and he wanted lap dances. He paid me to do a lap dance for like at least an hour. It was a ton of money. We bonded in conversation in that time. He invited me to hang out at his hotel, which I was still naive enough to not know if that just meant hanging out. I liked him though. We had fun. And he put me on the guest list. I went to his show the next night, went backstage, checked out the tour bus, and then met him at his hotel again. For the answer to how was it, he was good. It was fun. Edit, no, I'm not the suicide girl in Texas with the house. My sister ducked Drake. I walked into her room like 10 years ago and she was Skyping him. I waved to him and said hi, and he showed me the studio he was sitting in because I was skeptical. Pretty cool. I guess they met up after his show in the city we lived in at the time and then never spoke again. Lol. Edit, she signed her NDA. I did not. Friend of mine met Tiger Woods while bartending a golf charity tournament he was attending. He took her back to his hotel room and tossed her salad and had unprotected sex. This was several years before he crashed into a mailbox and divorced his wife. I remember Vanilla Ice's answer to the question what was it like to sleep with Madonna. He said it's not like she had a golden pussy. That has stuck with me. What you don't realize is the amount of NDAs floating around out there. Lol. I slept with a well-known, now deceased, rapper when he came to Toronto a couple of times. And I stayed at his place in California for a few days as well. The sex was good, but it wasn't any better than a non-celeb. He wasn't selfish in bed at all, and it felt natural cause we got along. He was actually really down to earth and fun to hang out with. My grandma kissed Tom Petty. I shook hands with Penn and Teller, then went back to my hotel room and hugged my wife. I was smoking weed with the bass player from Belphegor after a show, and when my girlfriend called he politely asked if she would suck his dick. Upon learning it wouldn't happen, he graciously accepted the no, and we continued talking about metal. Barely relevant, but I think the story is funny. A friend slept with the lead singer of City and Colour when they were touring university campuses in the early 2000s. She bragged about it to anyone who would listen. That ended a few weeks later when she realized he gave her chlamydia and genital warts. My mother had a one-night stand with Conan back in early 2000s. They met at a bar somewhere in Texas, and he bought them a hotel room. I ducked the mascot for Hamburger Helper. I used to know a dude who claims to have met Amanda Bynes in the mental hospital / rehab. They dated for a while. He said she was very unstable and clingy and honestly terrifying to be with. I wish I could remember some of his stories. One of my best friends met Jared Leto at a concert, not 30 Seconds to Mars, and went back to his hotel with him. They banged, and has since texted her for a booty call when he was in town again. I believe they also sexted on occasion. Edit. I used to send her articles on all of the A-list celebrities has hooked up with. Though look, your Eskimo sisters with Cameron Diaz, Scarlett Johansson, and Paris Hilton. Edit 2. Thank you to the commenters who let me know that Eskimo sisters is a derogatory term. I'll be sure never to use it going forward. I slept with a very famous and still popular rapper from Memphis. The sex was surprisingly good. He was very attentive and affectionate. I thought he'd be arrogant, but he was cool and made sure I enjoyed myself too. I stood 2 feet away from Ethan Hawke in Tulum, Mexico at the restaurant Heartwood, and that's the closest I've been to a celebrity's genitals. My wife has been in a couple of TV commercials, and I'm hoping that she will have sex with me one day, soon. Please. Edit. I'm glad everyone is enjoying my dead sex life. Thanks for the rewards. I've never got one before. I don't know what they are good for, but thanks. A friend met Matthew McConaughey in a club in Miami. She went home with him. Said it was met. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.